So let's start with Kulesenski, because it's so easy to forget that he only turned 22 3.5 months ago. It's just obscene how talented he is. He looks like he's been playing in the Premier League for years, and that is a massive credit to him. And it was really interesting. Someone asked Conte in the press conference, it was Matt Barlow from the Daily Mail, asked Conte in the press conference yesterday about he almost a throwaway line about the players that he'd signed this summer and the characteristics he looked for in his players. So Matt asked him, well, what are those characteristics in new signings? So he was talking about the signings they'd made this summer, but you could absolutely apply this to Kulesenski. So he said, the characteristics are to play intense football and to play this type of modern football. The player has to have quality. It is normal he has quality, but at the same time he has to be strong physically, a good engine, stamina, because this league is very, very difficult. It is totally different to other leagues, and we need players with this characteristic to have quality, but to be strong physically and to run a lot, to bring intensity during a game, because I like to press, but you need to have a player strong to do high pressure and then this type of football. It's Kulesenski. Kulesenski has it all. Other than, I'm not going to say slow either. He's not the fastest, but he still does have that little moment of acceleration, which I think takes him away from players. But he's a creative flair player who's not a luxury, because he has that size and strength. He's got wonderful technique, but he's also got that little bit of magic. You know, we think back to Spurs wingers of the past, likes of David Ginola, and I think Kulesenski's also got that bit of magic, but allied with, well, Ginola, to be fair, was very strong as well, but maybe didn't have that work rate that Kulesenski's got allied to that as well. You know, and how often do you get a creative force, a playmaker, who believes that hard work is central to everything he does? That's a huge thing to have. It's a massive credit to him. And you might remember, I kind of asked him out in Israel last weekend, or it was the Friday before the match, about, you know, his kind of need to suffer. He said once that I love to suffer. So I kind of asked him about that and where that comes from, and also whether that had been worked well with Conte's grueling training sessions. And he told me out in Israel, it's amazing. It's really amazing to have pain everywhere. And he said this with no sarcasm, by the way. This was absolutely meant. I think it's a fantastic thing to have that pain, you know. I love to work hard because everything in life comes from working hard. It's a little bit difficult, of course. Nothing is easy, but this is what you have to do to become a champion. He is so grounded. He's a terrific guy to speak to, honestly. Even just in that press conference, asking him a few questions, he was fascinating. I'd love to get a sit-down interview with him, because you've probably all seen that podcast he did where he was talking about that last game of the season against Norwich and falling out. He's very funny as well. He is, honestly, he's like a far older player in the body of a 22-year-old in terms of his understanding of the game, his knowledge of it, but also the maturity with which he speaks about the game as well. He's fascinating. And also his position as well. Remember, I asked him about his best position, and he said then, it's a very good question. I've been thinking about this my whole life. I always thought of me being a number 10. I still think I am, but my best results as a football player have always come from being a right winger. So I don't know. In the future, we'll see where I'll be. Yeah, I can probably play wing back too. It's football. You want to help a good team. You want to play, enjoy, work hard, and have fun. And that's what he does out there. He does somehow combine working hard and having fun, which I'd like to think I tried to do in my job as well. On paper, you'd kind of think he would be quite predictable because, yes, he's very two-footed, but he does have this preference of cutting inside onto his left. He does. It's not a, you know, and that's not a criticism. It just is a natural part of his game that he likes to do, and that should. We were kind of talking about this in the press box. It's like, in essence, teams should be able to read that. Should be able to stop it, but they can't. And the beauty of that, and that's real testament to Kulesenski, it's the timing of his movement when he decides to do that cut inside, the technique he uses, and that, like I said, a little burst of acceleration that takes him past a player. It makes it so difficult to stop him suddenly doing that turn inside, whether it to be to deliver a pinpoint beautiful deep cross like he did to Cess for the first goal, or whether it's to come inside and curl that lovely shot into the bottom corner from Emerson's pass as well. But the beauty of it is, because he's two-footed, they also can't fully commit to trying to stop him cutting inside, because at the same time, if he wanted to, he can go down the right and go to the touchline and put the ball in with his right foot. And that is the measure of a terrific young player. There's a real belief within Spurs that he is going to be world class. You think of what he's doing right now at 22. He's got 15 goal involvements his first 19 Premier League games. That's 9 assists and 6 goals. Since he arrived on these English shores, only Son and Kane have been involved in more goals than him in the Premier League. And, you know, I think there might have been a bit of fear of the second season syndrome, and would clubs be aware that he also is a big threat? His first game absolutely blew that idea out of the water straight away, because it's just phenomenal. You know, his loan deal will be made permanent next summer without hesitation. I think it probably will be made permanent because he'll meet certain criteria anyway. I'm hoping we should have the Romero announcement soon, actually, on his. I was trying to work out whether it would be today, because that will be past the year after the date that he was signed, August the 6th. We'll find out. It may be that I'm filming this, or in the upload time it may be announced. If not, it will be in the days ahead. I just literally suppose have just announced the player of the match, and it was very fittingly Dejan Kulesenski. So that's perfect who we're speaking about. Conte and Paratici are massive fans of him. Conte tried to sign him when he was at Inter Milan. Paratici has now signed him twice. They love him, absolutely love him. And it was interesting because I got a nice Conte quote from him. I didn't think Conte, because he didn't really talk about him in a press conference afterwards, but I noticed he did speak to the BBC. They asked about him. He said he could have a brilliant future in front of us. When I read his interview, he said that he wants to become one of the best players in this role. I think this ambition is good if he matches this ambition with the humility to be humble and continue to work and continue to improve yourself. And that is Kulesenski in a nutshell. And the other thing I love about Kulesenski is his strength in not only in the attacking areas, but bringing the ball out from defence. The amount of times you will see him pick up the ball on the edge of the Spurs box, and he just kind of weaves in between players. His technique is so good. His ability to hold on to the ball, but also his strength in getting away and in between players. And what that does is it lays a beautiful foundation for one of Spurs' biggest strengths, which is getting away on the counter-attack. We know that that's where their strength lies because of the pace and their ability to run forward. You know, we saw a couple of goals come from that yesterday. And with Kulesenski, he's just able to do that. He's very, very good at getting them away on that front foot as well, and then also bursting up the pitch to be there with them. Dan Kilpatrick from the Evening Standard, as he was walking in, saw someone going into the ground with Kulesenski on the back of their shirt, which I've never seen before. It was definitely, I guess it was a fitting description for the performance yesterday, because it was a very sexy performance. It was superb. It was absolutely superb. And, you know, I know I've watched it since this morning. He got plenty of praise on Match of the Day as well. And he's going to be a huge player this season. And you know, you're forgetting that you're adding Richarlison to that mix, and Lucas Moura able to come off the bench as well. And I think maybe another attacking player will come into that fold as well before the end of the window. That's options. That's what Conte wants. And honestly, it's very exciting. I think I've said that before, which came a bit of a meme, but it is very exciting.